How's it going, ding dongs? Welcome back to Ding Dong Drift. You know, the weather outside is pretty decent still. I don't want to let the car sit for these last few days that I have good weather. Today's video, I'm going to be finishing the taillights. Well, not just, I got to start them. I am not even finishing them. I got to do the whole thing. So let me walk you through the whole entire process of how I'm gonna go and make some taillights. So before we talk about the taillights, I should probably talk about the headlights, because in the headlight video, I only showed how I printed the housing. I didn't talk about the rest of the light at all. A little dirty from the drift event. So first of all, let me show you the startup sequence. There we go. That's the startup sequence. The other headlight looks a little better. I was able to reach more to the end here. I don't know, it's somehow able to reach more to the end here. Oh, because I modified that headlight after I learned that the strip doesn't fit in here. On the second one, when I printed it, I changed some stuff. I didn't want to reprint the whole thing because this took like 16 hours to print or something like that. So I didn't want to do all that. And then here is the turn signal. So yeah, pretty bright, looks freaking awesome. Yeah, I'm happy with it, turned out great. So let me talk about how I achieved this, because it's pretty simple. As you guys saw in the headlight video where I just printed it. So basically the whole housing is black, printed in two pieces, and then inside of the cavity where the LED strips are, I printed white reflectors, because if you just put LED strips inside of a black housing, you're gonna have just huge hot spots. So to help spread the light, mostly just here you don't really need it, but it does help so you don't have the LEDs facing forward. The LEDs are actually facing down everywhere, and here they're facing out this way, and here they're facing down this way. You can kind of see a little bit of hot spotting over here, but it's good enough for me. To help with that, printed a white reflector, glued it in, put the LED strips on top of it, and then 3D printed this lens. It's all PETG, black, white, and clear PETG. This is, I think, 30% gyroid infill. I like the way gyroid infill looks for diffusing light. You can see it's kind of hard to focus, but yeah, you can see the lens is printed in a few pieces as well. So this is a piece, this is a piece, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 pieces, and the only reason I printed them in 5 pieces is because I print them vertically so that I don't have to use any support material, I don't have to clean up everything, and then they're just super glued together. And then there's RTV on the entire lip where it touches the housing, and then I have a couple of screws coming in from the back pulling it in towards the actual housing. So there's a screw here, there's a screw here, and there's a screw here and here. And I'll show those in the 3D model as well, so you guys could better see that. I should have filmed this process of me putting it together, but I was in a rush to the headlight for the event, because I thought I was gonna be driving at night, and it turned out I didn't stay that long because my tires died pretty quickly on that track. Now that you know how I did the headlights, you can basically infer from that how I'm gonna do the taillights as well. First thing we gotta do is 3D scan, like always. So as with any design process, before I even start scanning, I kind of just like to sit around and stare at the thing that I'm gonna make. So I have the taillight designed, like the main body of it and how it's gonna fit in this area. The only thing I have to make now is how it's gonna mount. And as you can see, there's not much to mount to, because you got to think about it. Once this is carbon, all of this material here will be gone. So this will just be, you know, hollow. So I can't mount to this. I can't drill into the quarter panel. So I'm gonna have to make some sort of structure, which is the plan anyways. I'm gonna tube frame the rear of the car. It's gonna get chopped off like right there. And this will all be tube framed to hold up the quarter panels, because as you know, they'll be carbon and they need some sort of internal structure. I know that this piece is gonna stay, and this piece already has some holes in it. So what I'm thinking is, this piece will probably kind of stay. It's gonna get trimmed down, and I don't know, I haven't gotten that far yet, how I'm gonna do the whole trunk opening and closing thing. But I'm thinking I'm gonna use this piece and I'm gonna use this piece. And I'm gonna have to make some sort of structure that comes off of it, hold the taillight in for now. And then once I have a more permanent structure, you know, with some metal actually, then I can account for that in the design later on. Maybe reprint, or maybe think ahead and maybe put like a bolt in the center of the taillight somewhere right here. Maybe some tabs up here so that when everything is, you know, once the metal structure is actually made, I can just make the metal structure reach those 2 points that I already made on the taillight. So that's probably what I'll do. Put some tabs up here. So I'll think about that in my own head. I'm not gonna talk out loud here for an hour or however long it's gonna take me to come up with the solution, but for now, let's put some markers on it over the entire rear of the car because I have to get to the other side as well. And I also have to realign the bumper because it is totally messed up right now. All right, well, it's the next day. Yesterday was cloudy and depressing, and I had absolutely zero motivation to do anything. Another thing that's depressing is it's October 15th and the trees are still green and it's 70 degrees out, which is a weird thing to be depressed about, but goddamn global warming is coming in hot. And there's nothing we can do about it because corporations run the world. So I got the whole thing, all the reflective stickers put on where I'm going to scan. Just scanning the tops of the headlight cavities and the framing back here. I just gotta take the zip ties off and move the bumper over because it's probably gonna affect the spacing over here, because I'm also gonna be making a panel, not a panel, it's like a little plastic piece that's gonna go across here, and that will house the button for the trunk as well as the Lexus text across the back. Scanner I'm using, again, Rigel. I have a couple months left with this thing and it has been absolutely perfect. Literally could not, I'm gonna buy it for sure because I absolutely love the scanner. I know the new Einstar Rocket and Einstar 2 just came out, which I'm very excited to test, and I will be making review videos of both of those, I think, maybe, we'll see. But review videos are coming of new scanners, that's for sure. Speaking of scanners, I'm doing a giveaway on my old Creality Lizard. Had this thing since it came out. I got it during the Kickstarter, and as you can see, it comes with everything. Turntable, tripod, plug, scanner, charger, or not charger. Oh, it's the power for this thing, for the turntable. So yeah, all of this and whatever's in here, I don't know what's in there. I haven't used this thing since I got it because the Einstar came out right after it and I stopped using this thing. This thing is great for smaller items, engine parts or stuff like that. Not really great for, you know, body panels and stuff, but the giveaway is completely free. You don't have to buy anything. All you have to do is subscribe and comment what you will use this for, and I will pick a winner based on how much I like the response and what they're gonna use it for. If you say you're gonna make replica dildos, sorry, this is not for you. All right, so I just had a crazy revelation. I never actually looked at the bumper when I fixed it at the track, but it turns out it actually melted from the just tire heat, I guess. Like the heat from the tires melted the bumper, and now it no longer matches up with the car, like at all. Yeah, look, like I have to push it so hard over here just to get it to be even relatively close. Once I get it here, I don't even know how I would keep it here. Holy crap, what happened? That's the same thing on the other side. The other side even has like the two pieces completely delaminated from each other because there's just so much heat over there, which is so weird because that didn't happen anywhere else. It's not on the inside of the quarter here. It's not on the fenders. Well, the fenders did completely get destroyed by the wheel hitting them on the inside. But that's besides the point. That's just because my coilovers aren't set up right and the bump stops aren't working.
2 hours later.
Damn it, it's dark. Come on. Well, as you can see, I, like always, spent a little too much time fixing something. Both sides of the bumper warped inwards because I had them zip tied to that metal structure in there that you can't see because it's too dark now. And they warped mostly right here because this is the thinnest part of the bumper. Yeah, so what I did was heated it up, clamped it into place where it should be. It's still a little, see that? Still a little, needs to go forward more, but even when I let it go, it mostly stays in place. This side doesn't as much, but this side is mostly staying put where it should be. So I'm gonna clamp it back up. I have the bottom there supported by the jack so that it's in position where it should be, so that when I scan it, it's all gonna be actually accurate and not tilted forward or something, and then this gap is too big or something, or too small, and then I have to redesign it. I want it to fit perfectly first try. So I'm gonna clamp it back on. Let's do the scanning.
3 days later.
All right, so it's been a few days. Sorry if you can hear the printer in the background. It is currently printing the lenses for the taillights. And as you can see, here is the model. There's a bunch of other stuff floating around because I'm working on everything all at once. So I imported the scan from the back of the car. I lined it up with the original model that I actually modeled off of the old scan. So there was a little bit of misalignment and stuff happening. I had to tilt this taillight 12 degrees this way and 4 degrees back to get it to line up with the trunk. And as you can see, quite a big gap here. This is the side that I had to fix when I was doing the bodywork, so it looks like I have to do a little bit more bodywork. And I'm just gonna use the taillight as the guide. So once the taillights are fully printed, I'm gonna just tape them off, put a bunch of Bondo in that area, and just squeeze the taillight on top of it, and it will be perfect fitting, and then I just gotta sand down the excess. So no point in doing that right now. But let's talk about what I had to do to make the taillight fit, because as you know, all of the structure, like I was saying, is gone. There's nothing to mount the taillight to. So what I did was make this bracket here. So it comes off of the original structure that is still inside the trunk, you can see. So using 2 bolt holes here, I basically just use the scan to trace a new mounting flange, and then I extended it to the taillight, and I made it line up perfectly with this model, which is the rear vent. And this will meet up with the hole in the back of the quarter panel here, and it will also meet up with the radiator that will be inside the trunk behind the rear seat. So this will be the radiator exit. I talked about this a long time ago when I was first designing this. I don't like how drift cars always have like holes cut out in the bumper or the trunk or something to vent the radiator heat. So I'm actually making functional vents that will do that for me, that actually go, you know, they actually fit into the design of the car instead of just being random holes cut in the trunk or bumper or whatever. So that was a long tangent. This will eventually hold the taillight because it will be mounted to the inside of the car on the frame rails. This is going to be the internal structure that will hold the trunk latch. It will hold the taillights, a bunch of stuff inside, and it will also hold the trunk, because you can see still quite a lot of space in between the 2 parts to have a functional trunk, which would be sweet. I know the car is going to be a little crazy, especially with this wing on top of the roof, and the trunk will be hard to get to, but I still want a trunk. It would be sweet to have a trunk. So that's the plan. And I made the bracket line up perfectly with where the taillight will match up with the vent. So you can see there, they are touching. It's the exact same position. And then on the taillight housing, if I could select it, there it is. I added these little slots for these little T-bolts that I use for, if it would focus, these little T-bolts that I use for my side mirrors and stuff. So I'm using these to go inside the bracket to hold the taillight in place. And then on the other side, I just have 2 holes for inserting nut certs or heat certs or whatever. And then again, another little bracket that will attach to the back of the trunk here. It's really hard to see, and this was hard to design, but you can see this is the scan of the trunk area. This is what's left of the metal, so you can see it's cut off here, and I actually have to I cut off more, I'll show you guys later, to fit the taillight housing. But it's just a simple little bracket. Again, 2 nut certs here as well. I just have to drill some holes here. So I'm just using what I have for now. And like I said, eventually this vent will hold the taillights in place. It's all gonna be carbon fiber, so it's gonna be nice and sturdy and won't vibrate or shake or anything. And yeah, so that is all of the mounting provisions that I created to hold everything. And then now I'll show you what the taillight actually looks like. Super simple, 2 cavities. The bigger one will be the running light and turn signal with a clear lens, and the smaller one will be the brake light. It's got the whole L shape, just like, you know, all modern Lexuses do. And I have this little piece here jutting out that will cover the gap between the trunk and the bumper. So there's a little bit of a gap here. I could have done it with this trim piece that I'm gonna have on the trunk, but the problem is when the trunk swings down, it has to go around the taillight. So instead, if it was thicker, it would hit the taillight. So I just made the taillight bigger and made the trim piece thin, so I don't have to worry about any interference, because the taillight doesn't move, but the trunk moves. So I'm still worried about this hitting. I might have to do a little bit of trimming on the back of this trim piece. So we will see. I gave it 2 millimeters of clearance. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. I don't have the exact like mounting position of the trunk to simulate how it opens and closes, because it does have a weird arc to it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see when I get it done. So yeah, super simple housing. Here are the lenses. You can see that's the brake light, that's the turn signal and running light, and then the lens also has a housing sort of. So it's like a double housing, and I made a flange on it right here. I will fill this area with silicone, just like OEM taillights. Fill this area with silicone, same thing with here in the center, to separate the 2 housings, you know, so there's no light bleed. And that's why I have this black part of the lens that will separate the light. So it's completely meshed together so they don't have any light bleeding through. Nice flange to fill with silicone so I don't have anything leaking. So this is the combined model. This is how I'm printing it. I'm printing it in multicolor, and that is why it's gonna take 3.5 days to print the 2 lenses. So on the new H2S, I'm able to print it all at once, which is nice, but it still takes forever just because of the color changes. If there were no color changes, I would be able to print the lens in like probably 12 hours, something like that. It would take like very little time because it's not a big model. And then I added screw holes, so little plastic holding or plastic self-tapping screws will hold the lens onto the housing. See, the housing has little holes as well added, and then I also added little holes for the wires to come through and a little zip tie holder to hold it in place. Yeah, it's a very complex model. This is probably the most complex model I've ever made. A lot of pieces. Very happy with how it turned out. As you can see directly from the back, the swoop is very nice and pointy, but when you look at it from the side, you get a nice fat turn signal like illumination, so you can see the turn signals from the side of the car as well. Even from like the 3/4, you could see the rear turn signals showing up a little bit. And then the trim is just gonna have the new Lexus logo like that you see on the RX, RZ, and NX in text and a new text instead of just the Lexus logo. And this will also house the trunk release button, which is right here. That's the trunk release button, and it's off of a Highlander, I think. It's just a little button. So So you can see the lenses are printing in multicolor, and looks like it's turning out pretty good. I don't see any color bleed. Everything's looking good, I think. The housing is 6 perimeters and 5% infill, but the lenses are only 2 perimeters and 20% infill, because I want more light diffusion in there, and I want the housing, or the lens I mean, to be stronger, obviously. And it looks like I'm getting some sort of texture there, which is not good because of the steep overhang. 3.5 day print. It's already been printing for 11 hours today. Hopefully it turns out good. And then here is the first housing. You can see it's already painted. I primered it and sprayed it with metallic spray paint, and then I put 3 of these LED strips here for the brake light because I want the brake light to be super bright. And then I'm using the same LED strips as I have in the headlights, the running light and turn signal. So the running light is red, turn signal is amber. It'll work nicely. You can see the zip tie holding the wires in. Everything is filled with RTV, so we don't have any leaks anywhere. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. So you can see the bracket is already installed with the 2 bolts right there, and I made it go around those bolts for the fuel filter, which are way too long anyways. And you just put it in those studs in there. I cut out this piece here, and then it just sits right there. So obviously it's recessed right now because the lens isn't on, because the lens has quite a bit of girth to it. And then once I have the lens and it's all mounted, I'll be able to drill the holes over there so I know exactly where it sits, because you know I want to move it up and make it fit perfectly and not have to guess whether it's correct or not. It's already wired with the Deutsch plug, so all I have to do now is fix the wiring on the car, because I butchered it when I did the temporary light bar, so this is all messed up. Gotta fix that. Super excited with how this is gonna turn out, but I'm not gonna be able to finish it for this video because I'm already a week late on this upload, because these things are taking a while to print, and especially the lenses, I did not expect them to take 3.5 days to print 2 lenses, so that's gonna have to come another time. And yeah, Alien is completely done. The magnets came in, put all the spikes in, put the head on, put the mini mouth thing on, so it's all done. I don't have the arm right now, so I can actually walk past here because this thing is gigantic. It looks awesome from this angle. Look at that thing. So that is gonna be it for this video, ding dong. Sorry that I didn't get the taillights done completely. It was a lot of work. It took me a whole week to model them. Just, you know, after work, a couple hours here and there. Yeah, I did not expect it to take that long. I wanted to do a really good job on them. I really wanted to have them be printed in place. I didn't want to glue the lenses on. I wanted everything to be nice and mountable and modular and not have to worry about glues failing and all this stuff. So that's why I just spent a lot of time putting in all the little features that I wanted. And hopefully they work well. The brake lights are stupid bright, and you'll see them when it's all fully assembled, and we'll go for a drive and take a look at how everything looks with the headlights and taillights and everything. We'll see how the car looks at night and driving around with the lights working. So I'm super excited for that. So that's gonna be video after next one, because I'm gonna be doing a Halloween special with this guy where I'm gonna be coating it and making it look really freaking good for Halloween. If you don't wanna miss that, and if you've been following from, you know, the short form media like TikTok and Shorts and Instagram and stuff, that video is coming on Halloween. This weekend the weather's gonna be a lot nicer, so the epoxy will actually be able to cure. Right after I said the weather's been nice and I'm gonna make these taillights because I wanna drive this car around, the weather just plummeted. It's been like in the 30s at night, and it got cold fast, and I'm not used to it because for the last like month we've just been chilling at 70 or 80 degrees, and like this past week it just dropped to like 50s, just low 50s, and it's just been freezing. And I'm just completely not used to it. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment for what you wish to do with the scanner that I'm giving away. Check out the Patreon for early videos as well as exclusive videos. I'm gonna be doing some live streams and other types of videos where I'm going to be learning some new programs. So if you guys want to learn a new program with me, go check out the Patreon, because that will be a Patreon exclusive that will probably come out weeks or months later for the public. Don't want to miss that. Check out the Patreon. It really helps the channel out, because as you know, supplies are expensive and I really don't make much off of YouTube and everything. So, but that's going to be it for this one, Ding Dongs. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out, stay sweet, and I'll see you guys next week.
America, America, beautiful. Do you have your passport?